Hey there, and welcome back to another episode of the Designated Pundits. Week 10 Major League Soccer is over. We may be a day late, but we're here to talk about it. We got some clips to pull up. We have our best and worst of the week. Stay right there. Let's get into it. Stay right there is kind of a weird thing to say. You know, like most people are watching on their phone or like a tablet. Like they're not going to put it down and get up and leave. They're going to change the channel. That is my phone. I did some secret hand signal and it does that. I think it does hearts too. Like if you do like the little, see, there it is.
Yeah, there you go.
Living in the future here. Anyway, I'm Bob here with Scott and
I don't
Sir
know what's
Alex.
happening right now. Hey, how's it going?
It's a very interesting thing. I think I could do thumbs up. My for those of you listening who can't see, I'm using a setup where my iPhone is actually my cam. This is what I do every week, but Apple did some kind of update where if you do hand signals like over a Zoom, what is the Apple Zoom thing called? Whatever their live stream thing is, it shapes pop up. So I gave a hand heart and hearts came up. It was not intentional, but I started the video when there were fireworks going off. I don't know how to make that happen, but there's some hand signals. Someone not making good radio. We're off to a bad start already, but Week 10 Major League Soccer. Scott, how you doing?
Oh, I'm good. I am really good. I haven't set off fireworks on my camera though, so maybe not as good as you.
Or correct.
Or
Alex,
maybe better.
from a new
Yes.
angle with the light. With the we had
Right.
complaints about your mic last week.
Yes. Yeah, I sold my Xbox One. I traded it in, and I think I got a Chromebook now. Yeah, I'm doing slightly better than the Chicago Fire defense this past weekend. I can tell you that. I'm slightly better than them.
Slightly, only slightly.
Yes,
Let's.
yes.
We have a lot to talk about this week, so we're going to get right into it. We're going to cover some games, talk about some of the best and worst things we've seen. Scott, you got a homer pick. What is your best of the week?
I do have a homer pick. Look, I try and stay away from these so you know it's meaningful, okay? My homer pick is the best thing I saw was Diego Luna having his red card rescinded unanimously by the committee. And then he responded by going out and scoring a brace in a road win for RSL. Look, he's playing like a star, a superstar. And his first goal is just an absolute beauty. If you don't mind, I'm going to show that now. You're going to see a little forward press here from RSL. Diego Luna is going to actually pick this pass off, win it back, and just score an absolute beauty.
Whew.
He's got no window to shoot that through. I mean, just no right to get this past the defenders. And it's just got so much pace that CJ Dos Santos really can do nothing about it except dive and make it look better. So, huge credit to Diego Luna for coming off of a really disappointing week and putting in just an absolute star-worthy performance.
Yeah, RSL was absolutely clinical in that one. Only 10 shots, 5 of them were on target, 1.9 XG, 3 goals. The Junkwa unassisted one was fantastic too, taking a little one-timer. What a great game you had there. And not much left to say. I said Diego Luna's the only player on that team who wants to win. They kind of woke up a little bit in this one. There were some weird goal kicks on both sides. There were penalties that looked a little weak, but all in all, RSL goes on the road, gets that road win against San Diego FC. It's got to be looking great for them.
It's a good result. I think that's San Diego's first home loss. So they just traded with RSL, I guess. They got a win at RSL. RSL gets a win in San Diego. It's a good boost. RSL now needs to find a little consistency, but hey, that's all right.
Absolutely. I want to go into the best thing I saw this week, and it has to do with the Philadelphia Union. They scored 3 goals in a 3-0 win over DC United. And I wasn't sure what was going to happen going into this one. I've been talking up and down about Philly for a long time, a little bit in circles, because that offense, as good as they are, they sold a lot of pieces. They just lost Gazdag, and I thought, hey, it's going to be a step back for the offense. That is not the case. They looked fantastic in this one. So first I want to start with Glesnes. who had a nice goal in the 15th minute. That's the first one we're going to take a look at as soon as I can find it to pull it up here. What you're going to see is a long throw in. You kick it back to the guy and then Westfield puts it up, and Glesnes does not go for the header in the box, goes for the volley. And it is true. He hit that upper right-hand corner. Not something that we necessarily think of is in his bag. You think of him going up for a header. When I saw him on the score sheet, I'm like, oh, he's going to, that was, it must have been a corner. Or so. No, was not a corner. The big man getting it with his foot on the volley here.
I love the patience to let that just come to him. It really reads that well.
He had all the room in the world. I mean, he wasn't under any pressure in the box off of a throw-in. Next one,
easily overhit that and right over the bar. He didn't hit it with that much pace. That was the way he perfectly hit that. Too much pace that goes over the bar.
Next, you're looking at Jean-Jacques, and here they're just giving him space, giving him time. He was brought in as a center defensive midfielder, but he has this in his bag. Left foot to the near post. Again, just not getting closed down and on time. You see some of the players look like they're actually kind of stepping back, playing him out. By the time someone decides to step up, hey, look, he's got a lane, sneaks it by the goalie. Again, not something I necessarily thought Philly had in their bag this year. And then the third goal here is Demiani, a player who has far underperformed his expected output for the season. And what you're going to see here, he has a little tiny bit of space in the box and actually turns a defender around, a little kind of half spin move thing just to square his body up in front of the net. You see a nice flick on there for the header. And then, just gets around the defender, just being quicker on his feet, turning him around, getting that left foot again into the near bar there. There were calls for a foul by the goalie, but it was his own defender, if anything, dragging him down. Again, three completely different plays. It's not like they were all breakaways or set piece, just ways that Philadelphia Union is finding to put the ball in the back of the net. This game wasn't close, and it probably should have been closer than it was.
Yeah, maybe. I do like that Philadelphia is capable of scoring goals in different ways. I think we're going to look for maybe a little more consistency out of Philadelphia, to a point where it's like, okay, what is Philadelphia actually really, really good at? And are they able to play to that strength instead of having to find and having to rely on, creating goals out of, because some of these goals are a little bit out of nothing. Like the Glesnes goal, that's just a cross into the box, right? It's not an especially great cross or whatever. The finish is what's good about that. The Jean-Jacques one, like, how many times are you going to be able to dribble up that far unopposed? I guess, does that ring?
It is absolutely true. I want to see, but 2 home performances, 2 3-0 performances in a row, and their defense is stepping up too. Last year they were trying to beat you 4-3 each and every week. That is 2 straight clean sheets. They've only allowed 1 goal in the last 4 games. So something there is going right in Philadelphia. Alex, anything to add on Philly?
More about DC United. Second time in the last 3 weeks, they look really poor in defensive, giving up a lot of goals. I mean, not counting the Rebel game, that's 9 in after 2 weeks. I think they need to address the defense, and I need to address it sooner than later to me.
Yeah, they gave up 6 to Earthquakes, 4 to Orlando, 2 to Chicago and Toronto, 3 to Philadelphia. They're giving up goals in bunches there for sure. Let's move on now. Best thing that you saw. Went a little bit off script here. Alex, best thing you saw.
Would you ever some of your friends that aren't really MLS fans, and you always talk about how good Apple Plus is, and they don't have Apple Plus, so they don't know what you're talking about. You're saying, there's a goal this week that I think you should see, and you flip out your phone and you show them the goal. You're always going to show them something spectacular. Well, this time I showed them the Denke goal for Cincinnati this week, and my friend's eyes lit up. This guy just watches Premier League. You know the guy, the Euro snob, and he saw this goal. It's like, oh wow, I had no idea, and something like that. That's why I like to show it to my non-MLS friends to get into league. These goals like this happen all the time. You remember against Red Bulls a couple weeks ago, was another bicycle kick goal against them. These spectacular goals need to be shown more to you, especially to your non-MLS friends.
And I think that might have been the less impressive of the dinky goals.
Right,
I think
exactly.
the volley was
Right,
actually
exactly.
harder.
Let's talk about Denke too. What an addition to Cincinnati, man. He is going to score a lot of goals. And then with Evander, they are a dangerous team right now. Not a lot of people are talking about them, and I think they really should.
They have some interesting matchup coming up this week. I'm trying to pull it up really, really quick right now. I saw that in my pre-show document here. And also NYCFC hosting FC Cincinnati. So that's a really good test of a good defense in a weird location. If Cincinnati can pull points from that match, I think they're going to be cooking with fire this season. Now let's move on to worst of the week. Scott, your worst?
Yeah, look, Colorado fans, don't come at me because we don't have a clip for this. I tried to pull it. It wasn't cooperating. My worst thing of the week is Seattle's defense jumping over Georgi Mihailovic's free kick. And this isn't an especially great free kick. He doesn't hit it with a lot of pace or whatever, but he recognizes that nobody's laying down behind the wall. He has a little word with Cole Bassett where I think he says, "Hey, watch this. I'm going to go under the wall." And he disguises it. The wall jumps as high as they can. And Stefan Fry can do nothing but watch that ball just, sort of wander calmly into the net. It's like I said, it's not an especially hard free kick, but I just think with as much data, analytics as teams are doing, and with everybody having somebody laying down behind the wall at every moment, for Seattle, as good as Seattle's organization is, for them to go out, post up a big wall, let them jump like that and not have somebody behind the wall, that is really bad. That's really, really bad.
He must have really caught him off guard too, because if I remember correctly, it looked like there was enough time for the guy on the end of the wall to run over and kick it out of the way. Like, it was not an impressive free kick at all. Goalie could have gotten to it. There were a lot of things but sometimes that's what going under the wall is. You catch someone, with their pants down and you end up with a good goal there. Seattle Sounders, they were pretty good. 1.24 expected goals in a goal. Kosa Rienzi, my boy, getting the big assist in that one. Seattle Sounders definitely could have gotten a better result than they did. 1-1 draw, not going to be disappointed, but you're right. Low outside post, goalie should have been there. Wall could have been prepared there. Not a mistake you want to make. And from, a veteran coach like Schmetzer not getting his boys involved there.
Mm-hmm. Set piece coach is going to have some questions to answer.
Alex, worst thing you've seen this week?
I think it's pretty easy to me. I mean, the team, you give up 7 goals in a game. I mean, this isn't even like Sunday league, beer league when your guys are having a bag running around it. 7 goals in a Division I match. Come on, man. What are we talking about here? We're all praising Greg Berhalter, but someone's got to take the hit here. And hey, Sturridge, fantastic job. Mukhtar, glad to see you're back. Nashville kicking series buttons. 7-2 final Chicago defense. I got a lot of questions here on the defense, and they better fix that in a hurry. I mean, I think that's very embarrassing.
It got out of hand really quickly, and I don't really take, in a one-off, a beatdown like this as such an indicator. Like, Chicago tried to get back after it, and it was just failure after failure after failure.
Everyone has a bad day, having a bad day on a bad day when the other team's having a good day. That's what seemed to happen here. But 7 goals is a lot to give up, man, especially in any league, Division I. Man, to me that's some kind of red flags got to go up here, man. I'm not really jumping the gun, but this to me, that's not good, man. That's not good.
4 goals by Surridge, 2 penalties, and 2 assisted by Andy Nahar.
The Surridge is get out of the year, man.
5 in the first half. That's crazy. Yeah. That's an all-timer bad first half.
If Surridge stays healthy, man, this guy's got golden boot chance here. The way he looks pretty good to me now. I'm not just talking to Chicago. All year long, he's looked pretty good. He's the one offensive spark. Now I'm glad Mukhtar's on him, but Sturridge to me seems second year in MLS. He's getting more comfortable now. I think you're going to see some more goals out of him.
You have Mukhtar, our cover artwork player of the week, and it's, he was involved in so many of those plays
Right.
too. The assist, 2 goals. I don't really, 2 penalties. Okay, if it was Mukhtar, he would have been the guy with 4 goals. It is what it is. Zakernagel gets one, and Kuipers gets one for Chicago. Those 2 road goals are not enough. My worst thing that I saw this week is going to be the Minnesota defense. They got beat by Vancouver subs. Now, Vancouver has a lot of good players, so when I say Vancouver subs, they did have a lot of starters playing. You had the young kids like Berhalter, who, he can go out there and play 90 minutes 3 times a week for a month and not be affected by it. But big Brian White was not in. It did not matter. Minnesota's defense just didn't seem to want to defend, and I pulled a clip here on a Berhalter goal. It was originally called back and then awarded. But the thing that's astounding to me is just how much play Vancouver has in the box. Like, you have a nice little kick there, okay. Ball gets cleared out, immediately turned back over. There might have been a little foul on that slide there, but you see them just dancing around the box. Look, a clean, clear pass. Oh, here's another player. He's going to send it back out to the top of the box, and then, there's a banger. But the possession that they've had and the hands on the hips from the Minnesota defense, it's just something. I mean, ball watching on the far post by the defender there, just bad shape. And the fact that Vancouver just dismantled them on the road. This is a game I really didn't want to bet, so I took the under. And in like a 10-minute span, 4 goals were scored, and I lose the bet. These things happen. I'm not that upset about the bet as much as I am about Minnesota just not looking good at home. Not a game they should be dropping points.
This was a really big opportunity for Minnesota to get something against, the top team in the West, one of the hottest teams in the league, who had to play midweek and expend a lot of energy. And you should go out and you should be setting the tone. But the thing you see here is Vancouver is consistently the team that's setting the tone. They're the guys getting runners forward. They have the extra runner when the pass goes a little awry. And they're the ones that are winning those 50-50, duels and challenges. They're going in harder. They're going in more aggressively. They're going in faster. If you're Minnesota, you cannot allow the team that played midweek, the team that should have expended more energy than you can't allow them to win those kinds of battles.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about some of the bets we made, where we were right and where we were wrong. The show was profitable, 0.42 units in the green, bringing us up to 9.36 units in the green on the season. Alex, you had 2 winning bets: Red Bull New York at -125 and Cincy over 2.5 goals at +135.
Yeah, the plus 2.5. I got a little dicey there, but thank God Sporting Kansas City scored late, and there we go, +135. Ba-boom.
You got Basong from Eric Tommy to finally put one in the back.
That was also a nice goal. All three goals of that game were very nice.
I was rooting for you to get that 3rd goal, and then when Sporting KC finally put it in, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, but let's not get the tie. Yeah. Then Sporting Kansas City started threatening. I'm like, oh, here we go. Now we got to sweat this out.
Absolutely. Scott, you were 4-2, 1.59 units, picking up the slack that I was giving you this week. You had Cincy over 1.5 goals, Red Bull at -125, Orlando and over 1.5, and both teams to score over 2.5 in the in the Nashville Chicago game. You could have gone up to 8.5 over on that one.
Yeah, I should have pushed that one up in retrospect. But no, I felt like I had a good strategy, trying to just be not too greedy, and that worked out for me. I think my favorite was the Orlando one. That one felt really clear to me that Orlando was going to be able to get that offense going against Atlanta's struggling defense. Orlando won most of the battles. Possession 54% to 46%. XG is 2.36 for Orlando against 0.58 for Atlanta. Atlanta's offense giving almost nothing in this. Big chances. Orlando had 5. Atlanta had none. Shots on target. Orlando had 6. Atlanta had none. Just super clear. And I think we actually have a banger goal from here, the Pulisic goal, right?
We absolutely do. This is Paslic. Great left foot. Starts out with Alex's favorite, playing out the back.
Oh my God.
However, there was an attempted clearance.
There
Went
was.
right to Paslic. No one closes down on him. We saw this at Red Bull Arena. This guy has a left foot. You cannot let him get within 30 yards of the net and not have a foot on him. He'll show you what to do right there. And it starts, Alex, how else? Playing out the back, a couple miss. There was an attempted clearance, wasn't far enough. You can't do that. I mean, Atlanta United is not doing good things. Latte Lath isn't there. They had Schliss miss a penalty. Clueless on offense. I'm more worried about Atlanta's offense right now than I am about the New England Revolution. Because Revolution are bad, but they're scoring goals and they look like they have an idea of what to do. Atlanta's just a collection of your favorite thing here, a bad collection of good players. And they're just not putting it together. There's no idea what to do with the ball. Sorry, Alex. I interrupted you. I don't know if you know what you're going to say anymore.
I mean,
Atlanta's defense is bad. That's the moral of the story here. That's all everyone needs to know right now. There's really nothing to discuss. They got to fix that in a hurry. Ronnie Delia, it's been a long time since you coached NYCFC. Things are a little different now. Let's see if he can turn it around on the defensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bob, to your point, if you think about that New England team, right, their offense is really nothing special, but that defense is pretty good right now. And so any game that New England goes into, they can be a little bit hard to break down and they can give themselves a chance. And they don't have to rely on their offense to be prolific. For Atlanta, they're not doing anything well right now. Defense is terrible. They know they're going to concede goals and the offense isn't clicking. So they know they're not really going to score that many goals. So they go into every game with a problem.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. Orlando with 3, Moriel on a penalty, Freeman again from Paslic, a little overlapping play there, and then Paslic unassisted here. Moriel and McGuire, double striker. That's the first time I think McGuire got a start all season long. So we're going to keep track of what Orlando is doing, 2.36 expected goals in this one. We're also going to track Atlanta because something is not right there. They got to figure it out. Myself, what I got right? Well, I did the Cincy over 1.5 and Toronto NYCFC under 2.5. We're going to talk about that because nothing happened there. It was a easy match there. NYCFC with the 1-0 win. I was favoring them to win. I just couldn't put it on the official score sheet. I should have in this one. All right, now for the hard part, where were we wrong? Alex, you were wrong in 2 matches, Charlotte and over 1.5 goals. I had Charlotte and under 4.5 goals. Scott just had Charlotte, and New England Revolution snuck out with 1. It's hard for me to feel bad about this because we were absolutely on the right side here. Charlotte was the better team, dominant in possession, more expected goals.
Undefeated at home going into that game. That was one of the reasons I took them. I was like, wow, here's another one. New England's coming on the road. They should win this game. I'm being undefeated at home, especially the way Charlotte plays at home, was one of the reasons why I took that game.
Oh, the stats were overwhelmingly in Charlotte's favor, except for the one stat that mattered. You know what I mean?
Yeah, took Lamati with 2 missed big chances. Charlotte, again, they were the better team on the day. 2.05 expected goals, 58% possession. You could play that game 100 times, and Revolution get beat 3-0. 95 of them. So again, we are on the right side of the bet. It's kind of hard to feel bad about that. Alex, you also had the San Diego RSL match, which we already briefly talked about.
I had both teams to score. I had that part real right. That part was pretty easy. The part I didn't see right was the Diego Luna show with San Diego defense playing Ole. Well, they walked right down the middle. Very impressive display by Real Sole going on the road to getting the road win in San Diego. I did not see that coming.
I had a few wrong. I had Red Bull and over 1.5 goals. I was just trying to squeeze a little extra juice, getting a little extra 30 points on that. Red Bull only scored 1 against Montreal. It's not looking good. It's not all doom and gloom either. They did get the win, and that's what matters in the end. But I'm going to have to be cool on them. I've been betting Red Bull each and every week, and I keep saying, this is the last time. I'm not going to get let down again. I think this is finally scratching it off of my score. I just can't bet on those matches. Not seeing it clearly right now. We already went over the Charlotte match. I thought Austin double chance and under 4.5 goals was going to hit. Houston Dynamo absolutely ran that game exactly like they wanted to. Unexpected result for me. And I had Vancouver, Minnesota under 2.5 goals at plus 100. I thought that was going to be set in stone, and it looked like it for a really long time. Take out 10 minutes where 4 goals are scored, and I could have hit on that one too. So a little disappointing result there for me, dropping a unit, just under a unit and a half. But the show again came out on top, 0.42 units in the plus, 10 weeks of the Major League Soccer season, and we are 9.36 units in the green. Anything else we got to talk about?
Oh, Paul Pogba to DC United. I thought that was a weird story. I didn't see that coming. They have his discovery rights, and apparently they talked 2 months ago. Yeah,
all year because he was in LA chatting with Hugo Lloris and Olivier Giroud.
I mean, the tie is Wayne Rooney was here, Manchester United. He could probably ask him how it was in DC. You know, again, I don't know what he's got the thread left on his tires because he was suspended for drug use. So he hasn't really, the last 2 years, he hasn't really put damage on the knees. So I really don't know how much tread he left on there, but that's a kind of name signing that the league should make. Just, I don't know if DC United might be the right team for him right now.
I saw that the reason he might not want to be in MLS is because he's preparing for the World Cup.
He's not going to be on
I
the
think
French
that dream
team.
is over because I'm pulling it up. The French national team's midfield. Like, who does he start over? Chouameni, Camavinga, Kone? There's no.
It's especially off a drug, especially off a drug suspension. He's got no chance ever playing representing the red, white, and blue of France. I mean, that's just not going to happen.
He had his moment. He'd have to do something really special.
No, but the drug suspension alone, there's no way that it'll be shameful. They're not putting him on the team no matter what he's got left in the tank. Unfortunately, it's just not going to happen. Again, this is a name signing MLS should make. I don't know. I think he's about 31, 32. I'm going to guess off the top of my head. Might catch lightning in a bottle there. Who knows?
I mean, you'd have to be on drugs if you think you're starting over Emery in midfield in the next World Cup. We'll see what's going on there.
It's everyone has ambitions, but then there's reality.
I think DC might be a really good choice for him, to be honest.
They could use the help, no doubt about it. Again, he'd be probably a leader there too. Again, the tie-in with Wayne Rooney, maybe, who knows? But the MLS should make this kind of signing.
He's 32, by the way.
There you go. And he hasn't played the last 2 years, so maybe 30.
Neither have I.
I know he's had a knee. I remember he had some kind of knee issue or some kind of surgery back in the day. Something he had back in the day. So I don't know what. Who knows? But you bring him in, why not? That's all I'm saying. Why not? He's a name. Why not? You never know.
It's not my money. What do you got to lose?
Right. Exactly.
I'd watch it. It'll be good times.
We've been watching a lot worse from DC United, that's for absolute sure, and we're going to watch some worse from DC United next week in MLS Match Day 11. The good thing about shooting on a Tuesday, only 2 more days, and we're back with predictions for MLS Match Day 10. There are a lot of really good, plus money home teams in this one. The sportsbook isn't as dry as it was last week, so let's see if we can turn things around and get going on a heater here on the Designated Pundits. I'm Bob, here with Scott and Alex. Have a great night, everybody.